Please come.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning. Thanks.
Shinde Omkar Rajendra, that's
Yes.
your name. Your name is Omkar.
Yes, sir. My name is Omkar.
What is the meaning of the word Omkar?
Sir, Omkar is made up of two names, Om and Akar, where Om means a primordial sound of a universe, and Akar means a creation or Srishti. So it is also Om also have some religious connotation in the religions of India.
Okay. Omkar, you wish us good morning. What is so good about this morning?
Sir, I'm having this opportunity to sit in front of you. It is a very good thing about this morning.
But I find it extremely hot.
Yes, the hot is because of climate, and it has been also warned that we might face a heat.
You are a BSc in agriculture.
Yes, sir.
And that was your optional also.
Yes, sir.
And do you have any working knowledge of, hands-on experience of agriculture?
No, sir. I don't have a direct practical experience with working with any firm, but during my last year of graduation, I have done an internship in the villages where I have worked closely with the farmers.
Okay. Agriculture. You know something about the Food Security Act?
Yes, sir. The National Food Security Act was enacted in the 2013, under which we are giving the entitlements to the public, 75% of population from rural area and 50% population from urban area. Under this, we are providing them subsidized grains.
What are the guidelines issued by the Supreme Court on this act? That if we are not able to, feed the marginalized section of society, what will happen? If there is a death due to starvation, non-availability of food, what is the penalty?
But I am not exactly aware about the guidelines.
See, I don't think our country has got enough food stock to feed the marginalized sections. We find so many people begging on the road.
Sir, in my opinion, we have enough of food stock to not just to sustain our population, but we have a buffer stock to sustain it for almost 12, 13 months. But the problem lies in the implementation or ensuring these grains are reaching to these particular people who are entitled for these allotments. So we need to work on our public distribution system so that we cut out the leakages and ensure that these benefits are reaching to the concerned population.
But we don't have enough silos, as I understand, to stock the food grains.
Yes, sir. Currently, the Food Corporation of India is using a cover and plinth model instead of silos, but it has been recommended that the silos will be a good storage structure, which also allows a scientific storage and use of first come, first go of the grains. So we need to invest in the infrastructure of that.
I think we are going through a very grueling time these days because of the Russia-Ukraine war. And Ukrainians need food. Russians also need food. So don't you think that India should go in for a second green revolution to increase its food production?
Yes, sir, definitely. Not just because of the war, but with the need to diversify our own Indian agriculture, we have to go for the second green revolution, in which we have to focus on diversification of the crops. Because currently we are importing the pulses and oilseeds, but we have the capacity to grow them in our own country. So war is one trigger or one factor that will definitely push us towards the second green revolution, in which we can definitely.
Okay, one last question. Live-in relationship is the new normal these days, is a new phenomenon of sociology. Do you support this cohabiting, unmarried couples? Is it moral? Is it ethical?
So I think it depends on the both individuals who are adult and they are taking the decision in their own capacity. And as far as the legal issue is concerned, Supreme Court has also said that under Article 21, right to life, they have their right to decide to live in together. So I will say that it depends on the person to person or the individual.
So, Omkar,
Yes, sir.
you are interested in Rubik's Cube. Eh?
Yes, sir.
Where does Rubik come from?
Sir, it is a name of the inventor.
Yeah, but
Erno.
where does he come from?
Sir, he came from Hungary.
Hungary.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. And how many seconds you take to make a cube? 3 by 3?
Sir, for 3 by 3, I can solve it in almost 45 seconds.
45 seconds.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That was my best time.
Okay, but the world best is what?
Sir, it is 3.5 seconds.
Yes, exactly. So that's good. But anyway, it's very interesting. Now you saw the government of India enacted 3 farm laws, and then you know the history, they were withdrawn. So do you think those farm laws were in the interest of the farmers or not?
So definitely they were in the interest of farmers because these farm laws mainly focus on that they try to bring the structural reforms in the agriculture marketing, as well as they were promoting the private investment in the agriculture infrastructure. So definitely they were in the favor of farmers, but because of some issues and concerns raised by some of the farmer organizations, government had to withdraw it.
So you think it was a bad step to withdraw?
Sir, I think government could have, I would not say it was a bad step, but I think government could have shown more resilience and they could have bring more counseling or consensus. But they could have built more counseling or consensus among the farmer organization in order to implement those.
Now, looking at, you just mentioned that we should have second green revolution.
Yes, sir.
But do you know the consequences of the first one?
Yes, sir.
The consequences of the first one is that the soil is getting degraded because of excessive use of fertilizers and pesticides. Water tables are going down because of the excessive use of water. So if you bring the second green revolution, how will we sustain our agriculture?
Yes, sir, definitely. We have seen this negative environmental externalities, especially in the parts of Punjab and Haryana, because of the first green revolution and the monocropping. But to sustain our second green revolution, we need to diversify our cropping patterns. We need to diversify our input use. We cannot only use the chemical inputs, but we can also use the organic.
Now the countries are going to organic farming, which was the normal before 60s. Like Sri Lanka introduced organic farming because their soil was getting completely degraded. So you have the choice, either do organic or you do fertilizer based farming. If you want to improve production, obviously that is the way. But if you want to conserve your soil and water, then that is the other way. So what is the choice for India?
Sir, we cannot directly choose anyone because we have recently seen that when the Sri Lanka adopted organic agriculture, their production fell down by almost 50% of almost all crops. So for India, we need to focus on minimizing the use of chemical fertilizers and increasing the use of organic inputs. By this, we will also maintain the productivity and production capacity at the high level, as well as we will not cause a harm to the environment and sustainability.
Okay, now tell me, what is Transatlantic Alliance? Have you heard this name?
Sir, I heard this name, but I'm not sure. I think
what does it mean?
I think it's a one agreement or pact related to trade between the Atlantic bordering countries.
Is it trade or it is something else?
Sorry, sir, I'm not sure.
Not aware. Okay, can you tell me last, what is the significance of Solomon Island and why it is in news now?
So recently China has entered into a security agreement with the Solomon Island, and this has been seen as a threat in the Indo-Pacific by the especially the United States. So because of this, it was in the news, and the importance lies in that in the context of free, open, and inclusive Indo-Pacific policy that the most of the countries in the Indo-Pacific are promoting. So this is the main concern that is
But
involved.
India has not expressed anything against that.
Yes, sir, because this, our main focus lies in the Indian Ocean region, whereas the Solomon Island is located.
So who is
very near-
protesting against that?
So the United States and the Australia, they are the main two countries that are protesting against that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Omkar.
Yes, sir.
So first question on agriculture. What is the connection between MSP and Green Revolution?
Sir, when we introduced a green revolution to incentivize the farmers, government came up with the minimum support price, where they assured that if you will grow the wheat or rice, we will definitely procure this at a certain price. So it gave a certainty and the assurance to the farmers.
Predictability.
Yes, sir, definitely predictability.
And that is what they want in future also to continue,
Yes,
isn't it?
yes,
Because they can base their rest of the calculations on that.
yes.
Very well. Can grain be grown with hydroponic technique?
Yes, sir. Grains can be grown with the hydroponics technique, but its use will not be mostly for the human consumption. It is mostly being used for the livestock as a feed of the fodder, because
What is the limitation? Because you can't create that kind of facility, is it?
no, sir, we can create that kind of facility, but the life cycle of the crop, for example, wheat, is almost 120 to 150 days. For this long period, you cannot sustain a particular grain just only on the water.
I see. Okay. So you must have heard a statement, there are no permanent friends or permanent enemies in the international politics. There are only permanent interests. I want your comment on this in the context of Indian foreign policy and its relations with other powers.
Sir, this statement was given by United States Secretary. I'm not able to recall his name. But if we'll see this in the Indian context, uh, we are following our legitimate national interest and we are not aligning to any country. In the recent times, we definitely condemn we did not condemn the Russia's act in the Ukraine, but we called that boat.
So I want your comment on who were the enemies who have become friends.
Sir, we don't have the enemies per se, but
Okay, adversary or hostile.
sir, the China, which was earlier hostile towards us, we have
It is still hostile.
definitely, sir, it is still hostile, but I think we are following a different strategy towards China. On one side, we are cooperating with them. On
Can I give you a hint? Indo-Bangladesh war and 7th Fleet. And now we have a nuclear deal. USA.
yes, the USA.
Okay. What is Russia's contention in invading Ukraine? What are its aims, stated aims?
Sir, the Russia stated that it want to do a denazification in the region of Ukraine, and they said that the eastward expansion of NATO is a threat to their territorial security and border security. So these were the aims of the Russian regime.
Okay. Thank you.
Omkar,
Yes, ma'am.
what is the difference between agriculture and horticulture?
Ma'am, agriculture is a broader term in which you can include the agronomical as well as the horticulture crops. But the horticulture is a particular discipline that deals with the fruit crops, vegetables, flower crops, and the other spices, condiments. This is the main.
In what conditions, in what kind of an environment? That is the main difference.
Well, the environmental condition definitely differs for the agronomical and horticulture crops. And sorry, ma'am.
That's one of your subjects. Do look at it, okay? Would air pollution impact the yield of agriculture?
Yes, ma'am, it will impact the yield of agriculture because if the sun rays will not able to penetrate on the ground or on the earth, the transpiration, photosynthesis activities in the plant, the basic metabolism will get affected, and it will definitely lead to reduction in the yield.
Okay. So we need to tackle air pollution before we think of sorting out our agriculture. Now, with the water tables going down, what is the scenario in the next 1 decade? Major cities will run out of water.
Yes, ma'am. The NITI Aayog also has said in its composite water management index that the major cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, they will run out of the water in the coming decades. And this is a very alarming situation. And as a society, as a country, we need to look at the situation with a very serious approach. We need to ensure that we are collecting the water which is falling down on the rain. We have started also a Jal Shakti mission in which we are giving the slogan that catch the rain where it fall when it falls. So the watershed development management should be increased in more proactive manner.
We have developed a culture of giving out freebies, including food grains. Punjab, look at Delhi. So, do you think this is a system which is very good, particularly in the context of COVID? Nobody went hungry.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, in my personal opinion, the freebie should be given on the based on the situation or based on the case-to-case basis. For example, ma'am, under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, we allocated the free grains to the people for almost a year and a half. And because of this, recently, International Monetary Policy Forum (IMF) had said that because of that, the extreme poverty has been below 1% in India. So, but ma'am, there is also another side. If we are giving a freebies, for example, fertilizers or electricity, then it might affect the some economics in the power sectors as well other sectors.
Yeah. Okay. My last question. Farm laws repeal. Is it unfair to the silent majority? Because not everybody wanted a repeal of these three farm laws.
Yes, ma'am.
What percentage was wanting it, and which is the larger percentage? Which side?
Ma'am, the report that was given by the one of the committee members that was constituted by Supreme Court, in that almost 86% of the farm organizations were supporting these farm laws.
Yeah.
So definitely it is discouraging for the this silent majority. And in my opinion, government should in the future should try to bring these laws either through the center or either through the state governments by passing them through the state legislatures.
Bringing the large majority with themselves.
Yes.
They were brought in a hurry, and that is why their agitation was. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Omkar. I will request you to kindly wait outside. We'll call you back again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Omkar. Please take a seat. Omkar, we had consultations among ourselves. On behalf of the board, I'll give you the feedback about the performance, and they can also, supplement my views and add value to the feedback. I will first ask you about your self-assessment. How did you fare? In the scale of 1 to 10, how much marks would you like to give yourself?
I think 6 or 7. Yeah, I could have been more good with the articulation.
That's correct. We all agree with that. In fact, we find you a very soft-spoken and well-read person. Your knowledge base also is very good. And I suppose that your performance in the mains examination also must be up to the mark. That's why you are here. But still, having served in the UPSC, I would like to tell you that you are a very good performer, but there is always scope for betterment.
Yes, sir.
And in the UPSC, uh, the competition is very tough.
Right.
There's no denying it. And even a half a mark is very material. It's here that you come in competition with your peers. So perform still as better as possible. We don't find any deficiencies in your performance, but please perform as much as possible. Uh, I think a little which I noticed, my colleagues may or may not agree. Try to speak short sentences.
Okay, sir.
Don't speak very long sentences. And don't feel nervous. You are not nervous. Is it your first occasion that you are appearing before UPSC?
No, sir. This is my second interview.
What happened in the first attempt? How much score?
I scored 140.
140.
I was not confident that much. That was my first interview.
Last year, last year.
Last year.
Which board did you appear?
Beams and buses, sir.
Beams and Bassi. He is known for this. It's a tough. Okay. Whichever board it is, but your performance has to be uniformly, consistently good. One thing I must tell you that when you enter you have to stand by the side of the chair and don't sit down unless the board asks you to sit down. Don't worry. Sometimes it's also a part of your test of your personality, whether you get stressed out or whether you get nervous. So if they don't ask you to sit down, even after say 30 seconds or so, please seek their permission. Don't go on standing. It's your right. You must fight for your legitimate right. That shows that you are a man of very strong, sterling character. So then you sit down and don't open or unbutton your coat like this. Normally, if you are comfortable by unbuttoning yourself, you come like this. Normally, people unbutton their coat in the chamber, which is very irritating to the board. Please don't commit that mistake. Whatever way you feel comfortable, you come as such.
Okay, sir.
And your performance, I hope, was better than last year's.
Yes, sir. I believe I have improved.
Okay. If you get a little nervous, I can assure you one thing. Although you are experienced, that the UPSC board is very, very cooperative.
Yes, sir.
They are pro candidate always, and they make you feel comfortable.
Yes,
They don't actually start unless they feel that you are comfortable in your test. So if you are feeling nervous, if any candidate feels nervous, you can they will exchange pleasantries with you. They'll ask you about your family background, who else is there, what are you doing. By the way, are you doing some work somewhere?
No, sir. No.
Your mother is also getting income of 6 lakhs per annum.
Yes, she's a businessman. She's a businesswoman. She's running one restaurant in Satara.
Oh, okay. So they will exchange pleasantries, so be comfortable, and they will start only when you feel comfortable. They might even offer you water. If you feel, you can take it. Don't feel shy of. They might even offer you tea. I was offered tea, in my very first attempt. So don't get jittery about it. Take tea or whatever. Don't show any sign of nervousness. It's very, very important. And your articulation is very good. Your confidence level also is commendable. And I see a very good material in you to be a civil servant.
How many mock you have had so far?
Ma'am, this is my almost ninth.
9th mock in this season, or earlier included. This season, it's an overkill. So, what is the feedback from all those mocks?
Ma'am, during my first 2-3 mock interviews, I got the feedback on articulation and my confidence.
So, have you implemented that?
Yes, ma'am, definitely. I think I have improved a lot
Okay.
as compared to.
And what were the other recommendations?
Other read more about the agriculture.
Okay.
So they told me about the agriculture.
Yeah. Difference between agriculture and horticulture. You must be very sharp on that.
Yes, ma'am, I'll do that.
And agriculture is really suffering in our country because of the climate change, because of the water depletion, salination of soil, overuse of fertilizers, air pollution. So all those factors, of course, they are part of your syllabus. And general knowledge, current affairs, general knowledge. Just go through the newspapers, pick up 2, 3 newspapers which you read continuously till the day that your actual interview is. Even before going for the interview, read the paper for the day, because sometimes they'll ask something from the headlines.
Yes, ma'am.
Anna? So do that, and otherwise you're okay. Fine.
When is your PT, by the way?
So 6th May.
6th.
It's about
Okay.
I think you have already got a very good feedback. Everybody is happy with your performance.
Yes.
I would suggest that we don't have full DAF only, we have one part of your DAF here. So you should go through your DAF yourself.
Yes, sir.
See what are for example, Rubik's Cube you have said, if you have worked somewhere, you see your DAF properly, and all the points on the DAF you have to prepare yourself.
Yes.
So that becomes the basis of Q&A. And then agriculture is of course important. You have to prepare yourself very well on MSP, on how the MSPs are fixed, how many crops are under MSP, what is the Food Corporation of India situation, what is public distribution system. All that you have to prepare yourself. I would also suggest that you should know a little bit about economy as a whole. So you can go through in the parliament we present the budget survey. Just before the budget survey on the economy is presented. Chapter 2 and 4 of that survey are very important. So if you can read that. On the foreign policy, you should know about India's relations with the neighbors, particularly with China, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. These are in discussion all the time. Plus, you should know our relations with Russia and US, Quad, and what is happening in BIMSTEC. These are some of the important issues. What is now you could not answer transatlantic alliance. You should know all that. What is NATO? What is transatlantic alliance? What is the difference between the two? Little bit about the United Nations itself, and then general issues within the country. You see the newspapers every day.
Yes.
So follow the important events, whether they are social events, whether they are some religious conflicts here and there, or whether they are security issues concerning terrorism and other issues. So you should follow them very carefully. Read at least one newspaper very carefully.
Yes, sir.
And also read the Economic Times carefully. I think that will suffice your preparation.
Thank you.
So,
UPMC, its background,
Okay.
see why it was created, and has it outlived its utility? There is a possible question.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll read it.
one last thing. When you enter the board room, you don't have to just give a gentle knock twice. Don't say, "May I come in, sir?" Don't seek any permission. There will be one person who will usher you in. So don't seek permission.
Okay.
Just give a gentle knock. And first, greet the chairperson. That is number one.
Okay.
And if there is a lady member, then okay, that's very important. And have a fleeting look at other also.
Yes, sir.
You don't have to individually greet every one of them.
Yes, sir. Okay.
So I think we expect a lot from you.
Definitely.
So we wish you good luck. I'm sure you will do very well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
All the best.
Unacademy. Let's crack it.